Hello there. Today I'm taking a look at a really good Saint-Emilion. So this is the 2011 vintage of Trotte Vieille. It's a Premier Grand Cru Classe. And Trotte Vieille has a very long history. There are written records of vines having been grown here in 1453. So possibly some of the oldest written records of grape growing in Saint-Emilion. The estate is about half a kilometre outside Saint-Emilion on the plateau, and it takes its name from the fact that evidently at this point, at some stage in the past in history, the stagecoaches used to stop, presumably to rest horses or something, and there was an old woman who would regularly come over and talk to the stagecoach drivers and the passengers, and she became referred to as an old trot, the Trotte Vieille, and the name stuck to the estate somehow. The chateau was bought by its current owners, the Classé family, in 1949. They are chateau owners throughout Bordeaux. I mean, they have, for instance, Chateau de l'Église in Pomerol, and they own two fifth growths in Pauillac, Chateau Bataille and Chateau Lynch-Moussat, and they have a number of other properties as well throughout Bordeaux. So they're quite well established estate owners. Trotte Vieille is one of their premium properties. It's a 12-hectare estate, so it's not huge, certainly not compared to the estates in Pauillac. And Trotte Vieille is quite has quite its own character for Saint-Emilion, even in that it has quite a high proportion for an estate on these soils on the plateau, where you have clay and limestone soils, of Cabernet Franc, and they even have some Cabernet Sauvignon growing. So although actually I think Merlot can often dominate, the combination of Cabernet Franc and Cabernet Sauvignon is often at least as much and possibly more. So it's quite a structured style of Saint-Emilion. It has something of its own character. The wines are fermented. The winery is set up there so that everything ferments in tanks that are suited to the different plots, and they have some fantastic old vines there. I mean, they make an old vine cuvee from a plot of vines that's over 140 years old. So the vineyard resources at Trotte Vieille are fantastic. The wines will then, after fermentation, age in oak. It'll be 100% new French oak in barrique. And that will go on for a process of 18 months to 2 years. So, you know, really quite classically made. So I'm lucky enough to be tasting 2011 here. I mean, 2011, maybe not the most stellar vintage of all, but one with a nice amount of maturity now, with sort of coming up to 12 years of age. Looking at it, first of all, its colour is starting to get quite brick red around the rim. So you're seeing some development. There's still a good depth of colour. I mean, it's not opaque by any means, but this sort of medium intensity of this sort of bricky rim to ruby red colour, and yet at the same time I can only just see through it. Swelling it, it seems to be staining the glass, to be honest. You can see colour there. There are tears running there. It's 14% alcohol, so that's that would account for the tears there, but you can see they're visibly coloured. Have a look at the aromas, shall we? Those aromas are very developed. I mean, the first thing that strikes you is there's a mushroom note. So very developed sort of mushroom, maybe a hint of sort of wet leaves, forest floor, that sort of thing. And then there are some very well integrated but cedary sweet spice sort of notes. And there's an underlying red fruit element to this, but it's developed red fruit. It's sort of maybe plum to prune sort of notes. That's a taste. Gosh, after the sort of developed mushroomy note on the nose, the palate has a wonderful introduction of sort of really fresh, quite red fruit, quite raspberry notes, and yet there is a developed note, and somewhat slightly mushroomy, actually becoming much more truffle and developed in that way. That truffle note is supported, again, by sort of cedar vanilla notes, but they're very, very well integrated with the fruit. And as the wine goes on, you're actually getting a sort of real richness. There's sort of a core of dark licorice. It's not hugely intense, but it's there. It's overlaying everything at the end there, and the good acidity is keeping your mouth nice and fresh. The tannins, there are plenty of tannins actually. You can feel a certain amount of drying there, but they're really silky smooth. They're not grainy at all. So there's some nice bites, some nice presence there. I mean, I don't think 2011 is a vintage for long keeping at this stage. I'm sure you can keep this wine for 8 years, probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and it would carry on being lovely. But I wouldn't think this is something for long aging. I think this is a wine to drink now, to enjoy these quite complex, quite developed flavours with quite developed meat dishes, perhaps things with truffles in, and that would work absolutely beautifully. It's got such a lovely acidity there and freshness keeping it alive. So that was Trotte Vieille 2011. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found the video interesting. I hope you'll like and share. I hope you'll leave your comments. We'd love to hear what you think about this. But also please make sure that you come and join us again for another tasting soon, won't you? Bye now.